Science in motion. Displacement. Displacement is the change in the position of an object or the length of a straight line drawn from an object's initial position to its final position. Displacement is defined by the equation displacement equals change in position, and by definition, change in position is an object's final position minus its initial position. So therefore, displacement is actually an object's final position minus its initial position. For example, let's say a man is flying from Fort Worth, Texas to Fargo, North Dakota, with Fort Worth being his initial position, which we'll call 0 kilometers, and Fargo being 1,733 kilometers away, his final position. We then take the final position of 1,733 kilometers and subtract the initial position of 0 kilometers from it to find that the displacement would be 1,733 kilometers. Displacement can either be a positive or a negative number. So let's say a week later, the man returns home to Fort Worth. So from Fargo, his initial position, which we'll still say is 1,733 kilometers, he flies home to Fort Worth, which we'll still say is 0 kilometers. So by definition, he would take the final position, 0 kilometers, and subtract the initial position, 1,733 kilometers, to find that our displacement would now be negative 1,733 kilometers. But displacement is not always equal to the total distance traveled. Let's say a man drives from Fort Worth, Texas, which is still 0 kilometers, to Fargo, North Dakota, which is still 1,733 kilometers. But when he arrives at Fargo, he remembers that he left his wallet in Lincoln, Nebraska, which is 761 kilometers away from Fargo, North Dakota. So, the man drives back to Lincoln to retrieve his wallet and stays there for the night. In this case, his total distance traveled would be found by adding all three positions together, which would be 2,494 kilometers. But since displacement is defined as final position minus the initial position, you would have to find the final position, which would be done by taking the distance from Fort Worth, Texas to Fargo, North Dakota, which is 1,733 kilometers, subtracting the distance from Fargo, North Dakota to Lincoln, Nebraska, which is 761 kilometers. You would find that the final position would be 972 kilometers. So then you would take this final position of 972 kilometers and subtract the initial position of Fort Worth, Texas, which is 0, to find that the displacement of the man's trip is actually just 972 kilometers.